I'm here with James Levine of the men's basketball team. James, can you kind of just talk about your basketball background?
Well, I started playing basketball when I was probably 5 years old in YMCA leagues. I was fortunate to always have my dad as my coach. Definitely very appreciative of all the opportunities he gave me to play, and just kind of I was really appreciative of the values that I learned from having him as a coach, appreciating the process as opposed to results, and to always do things the right way. After my YMCA and travel basketball days, I played basketball at Natick High. I also played AAU for the Bay State Magic. Had a great coach there, Kalon Jenkins, and then throughout my youth, I always worked out with two guys who were really instrumental in my development as a basketball player, Derek Vogel and Sam Donor. So that's basically my basketball background.
And you talked about your dad being a big influence as your coach. What are some of the biggest things that he might have taught you, just to, maybe not necessarily about the game, but how to prepare going forward when you were younger?
There's a lot of lessons were to be learned from my dad. I mean, at a young age, a big problem I had was controlling my emotions. Especially after losses, you're always frustrated, especially as like a 6th or 7th grader playing in your travel league. You think that the games you're playing in mean so much, and they do. They definitely do. But in coming back in tears or being frustrated at myself or at my team or at him as a coach just was never an appropriate response to losing. And he definitely changed my approach to games, and he helped me control my emotions. And then as I grew up and as he became more of a spectator as opposed to a coach, he really helped me. He helped me deal with adversity. He helped me constructively deal with maybe coaches who I didn't agree with, or he helped me focus on things that I could do as a basketball player to make positive contributions on my team as opposed to focusing on negatives.
And then making the transition to your high school days, when you're looking into colleges, what made you so attracted to Haverford?
Well, from the standpoint of Haverford, I think that it's just an incredible institution. Academically, it was a place where I could take courses that were rigorous, that were challenging, and at the same time I could pursue my interest in basketball too. So I think that the academics were really the reason why I came here.
And then can you kind of talk about the balance as a student athlete with your academics and athletics?
I think that it's cliche to say, but I think that athletics definitely helps with academics. It forces you to organize your time. It forces you to really focus on the homework or the papers or the midterms that you have in your free time, because you know that you can't do it from the hours of 4:30 to 6:30, or you can't spend a Saturday working on a term paper because you know you'll be on the road. So just in terms of forcing me to use my time productively, I think that athletics has been extremely helpful from an academic standpoint.
Then when you were younger, you talked about your father, but what were some of the influences? What were some of the ways that they helped you balance the life of an athlete and the academic side to make sure you stayed up on your academics?
Well, I think that a couple guys of note that I definitely want to mention again, and some other guys who I'd like to note who were really helped me become the person who I am, the basketball player who I am. There was one guy, Sam Donor. He was. I always went to his clinics on Tuesday nights during the fall, Sunday nights during the spring, and then whenever he had a free gym, he always gave me an opportunity to work out. And that's something I'm incredibly appreciative of. I think it helped me academically just because it was always a release. That when you're stressed out with school, especially when you're in high school, you don't necessarily know how to deal with your frustration. You don't know how to deal with being overloaded with work or being overloaded with stress. So always having that opportunity to get in a gym to blow off some steam for an hour was always helpful. Another guy, Derek Vogel, I don't know that he explicitly helped me out academically, but he was always such a calming force. He always made basketball really simple whenever I worked out with him. And he was a guy who was just as a role model, as a person, was always calm, always collected, always thoughtful. And I think that my game, and I think that who I am has been greatly influenced by him. And then two guys who definitely helped me academically too are my PT guys, Dan and Ryan at Jumpstart in Natick. So I had knee surgery my junior year of high school, and it stinks when you're on crutches for 6 weeks. You're trying to get around school, you're trying to manage your schoolwork, you're trying to rehab, and you're thinking like, will I ever make it back to the basketball court? And that can get to you, and academically you can suffer because emotionally you're just not prepared for dealing with an injury as an athlete. And those were guys who were always positive. They were Dan and Ryan were the reason why I enjoyed going to physical therapy, and I think they were the reason why I was able to academically continue performing in school, and then ultimately athletically being able to return to the basketball court. So those four guys were huge influences. Not just academically, but or not explicitly academically, but they definitely helped me be a better student because of their positive contributions in my life.
And then making the transition back to Haverford, this year was your first time really into the starting role. Can you kind of talk about the adjustment from coming off the bench to becoming a full-time starter?
Well, I did start 7 games my sophomore year. We had a pretty good record. I think we went 3-4 in games I started. But no, I'm joking. Yeah, it's different. The mindset's definitely different. That when you're on the bench and you know you're playing 20 minutes a game, or somewhere between 15 to 25 minutes a game, you're able to go as hard as you can on every possession and be a real nuisance. That was my role my sophomore year. That was my role really last year too, was come into the game, affect the game, be an energy guy. And so as my roles changed, this year I've had to become more of a scorer from the shooting guard position or small forward position. I'm still not really sure what I play. It's we just play with a lot of guards out there. I've had to learn how to pick my spots, how to use my energy efficiently, as opposed to just kind of going out there and trying to make something happen either on the defensive or offensive end.
And then it was coming up on your senior day. What has been some of your favorite moments about Haverford? Not necessarily on the court, but just maybe a moment in your academic career, or is there anything that really sticks out to you at your time from Haverford?
I don't know that anything sticks out to me, but I think that as I approach my senior day, I get nostalgic, and I think I start to understand what other guys went through on their senior days, and I become really appreciative of the great teammates I've had this year and that I've had in the past. There's not a moment. Going today, the feelings I'm feeling and the thoughts I'm thinking aren't about individual events. It's about the people who have affected me because they've been teammates. And I'm thinking of guys like Ian Goldberg, like Joel Michelle, like Lou Cipriano, like Eli Schwartz, who else? There's so many guys. Jeff Hartman, Brett Cohen. I mean, those are some recent guys, some older guys, even alums who I was never on a team with, like Sam Permit or Mike Fratangelo, guys in the Haverford basketball family who are always looking out for you, who care about you, and who understand what you're going through when you're in the program, who are always willing to support you, who's always willing to have a conversation with you and talk about how things are on and off the basketball court. So no, I don't. There's no moments, basketball moments, or Haverford College moments that I'm necessarily thinking about, but I'm thinking about individuals and about people who have been incredibly supportive, who have really created a culture that I've tried to maintain as I've been here in my 4 years, but who definitely changed my life and who will be friends, who will be people who I consider friends for the rest of my life.
And then my final question is, as you wrap up your senior year and you try and finish up school, do you have any plans after college? Some things that you want to do after your time at Haverford?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of things I want to do after my time at Haverford. My postgraduate plans, my immediate postgraduate plans, I'm still figuring those out right now. But I want to get into either policymaking or diplomacy. I want to travel the world. I want to learn languages. I want to better understand how the world works, really, how states interact, why people do what they do in certain places, the differences between cultures. I mean, I hope those don't sound like too cliche, but I do want to. One way that Haverford has profoundly influenced me is it's made me curious, and it's made me curious about the world around me, and it's kind of encouraged me. It's kind of pushed me to leave the United States and get out of the country and see what else there is outside of the Northeast, really. So either policymaking or diplomacy right now, I think I see as my future. But who knows? I could end up working in the private sector, working for a business. But hopefully, I'll be doing it internationally.
I'm with Lucas Colombo, a senior guard for the Haverford College men's basketball team. Lucas, when you were younger, what made you get into basketball?
Both my parents played. Growing up, my mom played in high school. My dad still plays today. I had to hoop in the driveway. It's just always something to do. Grew up playing a lot of sports and been playing basketball since kindergarten, first grade, something like that. It's kind of obviously the one that stuck over all that time.
And then, you said you were playing a lot of sports when you were younger. What made basketball stick out above the rest?
I think I had good coaches growing up. Understood the game pretty well from a young age. We had a good team, so obviously winning was fun. I think that was probably it.
Who were some of your biggest influences when you were younger?
My parents, definitely. Always going above and beyond to make sure I was at practice, at games. Always putting in the extra effort to get me to trainers or whoever, making sure I'm working out in the summer, stuff like that. I had the same coach from first grade up through start of high school, so he was definitely a big influence. Someone I look up to today, even.
And then, when you were younger, did you have a favorite team, favorite player that you grew up watching that you tried to emulate your game after?
I was Michael Jordan for sure. I think I was Jordan for 4 or 5 Halloweens in a row. Yeah, I mean, watching him was insane. He obviously, the end of his career was when I was pretty young, so I kind of transitioned from him into Kobe, and then I was a huge Kobe fan still to this day.
So, do you even remember Michael as a Bull?
Yeah.
You do? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, I have vivid memories of waking up and my dad had the paper and it was his 6th ring.
Yeah.
And I remember that morning, just covered the newspaper.
So, you said you're a big Kobe guy, so are you Kobe above Michael, or how do they rank in your top 5 rankings?
I think you got to give Michael the edge. I think he was so good. I mean, it's definitely hard to compare the two, but I think if you have to give an edge to somebody, I think it's MJ.
And then, as you're going through your whole college, looking at colleges, what kind of separated Haverford from the rest of them?
I think the visit really made a difference. I came and spent a night with the team, and just really love the guys. Really, I mean, just some great people here. It's really what narrowed my decision down. I wasn't 100% sure I was going to play at all. Kind of had 2 categories of where I could play and where I couldn't, and the feeling of being recruited at all is a nice feeling that somebody wants you to come play for them, and then coming here, especially meeting the guys on the team, was a big impact, I think.
How did you balance athletics and academics now and then even when you were younger?
I think they go hand in hand. I think, like I said, I played a ton of sports when I was younger. So, especially growing up, there was no off season. I played soccer and fall and lacrosse in the spring, and played football growing up too. So sometimes I was playing 2 sports at once. I think it necessitates when you're going to do your work. So I didn't really have a lot of free time to screw around. So whenever I wasn't playing, I had to be doing something. I had to be doing schoolwork. So I think that carries over to today. I think I'm more productive in season than I am in the off season, just because my day is a lot more structured and I don't have a lot of free time where I can push stuff off to later.
And then what are some of your favorite things about Haverford?
I think the people is number one. Again, that's really why I fell in love with the place in the first place. Between the team and people that I live with and people that I've been friends with since day one that don't play anything, I think it's cliche at this point, but it's a pretty tight-knit community, and I think that's what makes it different. I visited a ton of friends at other schools, and all their friends are nice people, but they don't seem like the same quality of people that we have here.
And then, is there, looking back upon your 4 years, is there one moment while you're at school, maybe athletically or academically, that has really shaped the person that you are today?
I don't think it's one experience. I think it's been the process. I think I came in as a freshman getting very inconsistent time. Sometimes I'd play 20 minutes, sometimes I wouldn't see the floor. Starting as a sophomore, playing a ton of minutes last year and this year. I think it's just been a beneficial process for me. Just setting a goal that I wanted to play, I wanted to start, I wanted to be an impact player for this team. I think that's what I've been.
Then you talked about how you had some inconsistent playing time as a freshman, and now you're a major starter, major contributor on the team this year. What has been? Can you kind of talk about the development of your game as a freshman to where you are now?
Yeah, I think there's just an adjustment that comes with getting minutes at all at this level, especially coming from high school to college. It's definitely a big difference, especially for me as a smaller guy playing bigger guys most of the time. Just took some adjustment. Corey obviously makes a huge difference in the weight room, putting a lot of pounds on, getting stronger. I spent a few summers here too, playing in a Delco Pro-Am, which is a really solid summer league with a lot of D1 former pro guys that I think for me as a low-level D3 guy playing against them got me a lot better. So I think that was big. I spent 2 summers playing in that, and that really I saw a big difference, especially from freshman to sophomore year after playing in that league.
And then what does it mean to you to be a captain?
It means a lot. It means that I have the support of my teammates. That means I have the trust of the staff. I'm more of a guy who's not going to deliver any Lombardi speeches, so trying to just go out and just lead by the way I play and try to play hard and set the example that way, other than telling guys what to do. I try to keep my head down and work.
Then, as your senior season's coming to an end, have you looked at any plans or any job opportunities after you graduate?
Yeah, I got a couple opportunities right now. I may end up going to work at Maryland Shore. Where I worked last summer. A couple of other opportunities at home. So nothing definite yet, but a few options lined up at the moment.
I'm with Matt Sherman, guard for the Haverford College men's basketball team. And Matt, when you were younger, what made you get into basketball?
I'd have to say my dad was a pretty big influence with that. He played college basketball at Gettysburg, so there's that Centennial pipeline there to start with. And he probably put a basketball in my hands when I was 4 or 5 and kind of ran with it. I'd say that my brother is a high school senior. Having him as another future college basketball player, we were able to push each other when we were growing up, and working out together, playing one-on-one or whatever. I thought my brother and my dad were definitely two big influences on me wanting to pursue basketball in college.
So what happens when you play Gettysburg? Who does your dad root for?
Yeah, it's funny. He still has some connections at Gettysburg, and he keeps in touch. He stays updated with the program, but he'll root for me, and I guess hope it's a close game.
Did you have a favorite team growing up or a favorite player that you grew up watching?
Well, when I was in elementary school and some middle school, Allen Iverson was, the face of the Sixers, and he's really been the last face of the Sixers. They've had some struggles recently, but the Sixers were definitely my favorite team growing up. Obviously, with Kobe Bryant being from my area and this area, I always looked up to him, and he went to nearby Lower Merion High School. So he's always been someone I look up to, and just his work ethic. And seeing him today, it's kind of sad to see how his career is going to end, but he definitely inspired me, along with Allen Iverson.
Getting back to your basketball career, when you were in high school and you were looking at colleges, what attracted you to Haverford?
Well, Coach Mucci showed unbelievable loyalty to me. I was in his backyard, so it kind of made it easy, but he came to probably 15 of 25 games that I played that year. And on my visit here, they had just beaten F&M. And obviously, it was they were definitely happier than they would usually be after that big win, but just the camaraderie within the team, everyone was really close, and just the whole atmosphere at Haverford. And I don't mind being close to home, because when I'm here, I feel secluded enough where I can get away, but also close enough where I can access stuff that most people can't access.
And what's been your favorite part about Haverford? Maybe a place on campus, or the people that you met. What's been one particular thing about Haverford that stood out in your 2 years here?
I'd say the preseason and off-season programs that Corey Walsh puts together have been just huge in my development off the court, just strength-wise and speed-wise, and I feel like it's a huge credit to him to, for me to be able to, because I played a lot of minutes last year as a freshman and a lot this year as a sophomore, and I feel like that wouldn't be possible without, gaining that extra physicality and preparing myself for the centennial battles.
And then you talked about the off-season program. In your sophomore year this year, your numbers have been, much better than they were your freshman year. What were some of the things that you did in the off season to help you become a better player today?
Just having access with my brother to the GIAC and the arena, and also the Delco Pro-Am, which we host, is a great league, and you're playing against basically professional basketball players and former Division I players, and that's unbelievable competition, and that's really the only way you get better, is playing against guys that are superior athletically and very talented. So that was a big help.
Who are some of the best players you've played in that league?
Let's see. So I played against, 2 years ago, going into my freshman summer, I played against Kyle Lowry, who was named the starter in the All-Star game. And Juan Fernandez, who played at Temple. He was a stud. And Scotty Reynolds played. So just this area is so rich with basketball talent, and the fact that Haverford gets to host that league and we get to put in a team is pretty unique. So I thought that was very beneficial.
And then what are some of the things that you feel that you have to improve on in the off season to get even better than you are now?
I'd say definitely for one, leadership, because I know we're graduating 4 seniors, 3 captains, and they've kind of let me off the hook in terms of vocal leadership, because they do such a good job of it. And next year I know a lot's going to be asked of me from not just on the court but from a leadership standpoint. And but on the court, I'd say still just continuing to work, going to my left, because if you can go both ways, and you can get the defender off balance. So I'd say just continuing to work on my weak hand and just adding more tools to the arsenal in terms of offensive moves and stuff like that, because I'm already starting to see defenses kind of catering their defenses toward me. So.
And then moving along to the academic side, as a sophomore, you don't have to pick a major quite yet, but do you have any ideas about what you want to major in, or?
I'm thinking history. Coming into Haverford, I was thinking econ all the way, and then I kind of realized I really like to read and write as opposed to doing problem sets and stuff like that. So I figured history could maybe lead to law school or some other path, which I don't know of yet, but the best part about liberal arts is that you get a little bit of everything, so I feel like the major isn't the be-all, end-all.